Alrighty, let's do it. Big match. Ta-da-dum. Good luck, have fun to my friends from the Shopify Rebellion. Mandatory side story is that if it wasn't for the Shopify Rebellion, there is a chance there would not have been Basilisk. And if you guys wonder how, why, Roddy, what does that have to do with each other? A long time ago, Basilisk had a Overwatch team. And Shopify also has an Overwatch team. And eventually, the guys from Basilisk were like, hey, StarCraft's kind of cool. So they asked Shopify, like, hey, can you guys tell us a thing or two about StarCraft 2? They got in contact with Dr. Dario, TLO. And TLO said, well, there is a guy that has a lot of time to talk about StarCraft. He's from the Netherlands. He knows a lot. So he forwarded my contact details to the folks from Basilisk. And the rest, as they like to say, is history. Yes, Trigger ByuN is a replay cast. That is correct. Trigger ByuN is replay. These are the matchups of today. ByuN versus Trigger, Lambo versus Reynor, and Harstem versus Serral. First match has already been played, so it's probably going to start immediately. ByuN 787 ELO. Trigger, the man who's had a couple of ups and downs, but obviously has been on a big up and up for quite some time at this point. It is hard to have that never-ending upswing. Everyone in their career is going to have a couple setbacks. Here we go.
Let's get it on. Round 1. Fight!
Top left side of Oceanborn, the Red Protoss player, the man from Canada, Basilisk Trigger. Bottom right side, our Korean Terran, the world champion of StarCraft 2 of the year 2016, Shopify Rebellion's ByuN. The games have been played earlier, I believe yesterday. I don't know when they were played. I wasn't there, I don't know the result. I always tell the boys, don't tell me the score if you play in advance. I just want to watch the games live, at least for my, even if they're not live, but you guys know what I mean. I don't want to sit here and have information that you guys don't have, and that would just make the cast weird, so I have no idea what happened between these two. I'm excited. I hope that it goes well for us today. It's a big day. ByuN apparently opening up with an eBay block. Trigger is going to pull a couple of probes to the low ground immediately to not see too much HP on this eBay, and we'll take it from there. If you guys are not super familiar with the eBay block, this has one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to delay the expense from going down. Sometimes Protoss players will ignore it and just take the third base as their natural, but that obviously completely changes your game plan. And you can't really go for certain builds because it's a lot harder to protect two mineral lines that are far away from each other than two that are close to each other. How do the matchup work? Do you know who you are against? No, we seed players in the dark. So I just contacted the admin, or the admin contacted me and he said, hey, line up please. And then I decide who comes out in what order. And for this week I decided Trigger first, Reynor second, Serral third. ByuN opening up with a quick reactor. And since that factory is super close to the barracks, this is starting to look like he could do a swapperoo, and that is exactly what he plans on doing. I guess we're going to open up double Cyclone here. Interesting opening. This is the kind of stuff that you want to scout as a Protoss as quickly as possible, and you want to get a shield battery in your natural. Cyclones are weird. They can be amazing. This is so greedy, by the way. It's not Cyclones, it's Hellions. Alright. Well, good news that Trigger in the end decided to just take his natural. Ideally, Trigger keeps this probe long enough alive that he can see what comes out of the factory. So we're going to do a little ring around the rosy here, try to avoid that marine. I would have liked to see him move it up. Okay. Can we see what comes out of the factory? He hasn't seen it yet, and unfortunately, no, he won't see it. Maybe he knows the build time? Does see the starport, as the observer is showing us. No, the adepts at least, no. We don't want to lose this adept, so I want to see him shaded back immediately. Just get a couple hits off here and there, that's fine. I would get a shield battery in my natural. Seems that Trigger is not too concerned yet. Is it possible to buy tickets for Katowice already? I believe they're already sold out, mate. I think you're a little bit too late. Why did you do that? cannot share my methods, mate. Because I can make the opposition wiser for the upcoming play days. I can make the opposition wiser for the playoffs. I have a reason why I do things. Sometimes that will work out. Sometimes it doesn't work out. It's obviously kind of random. And there is a lot of RNG, but cannot give away any information, sir. If we win the tournament, I will tell you how we got there. I'm going to open a monster. I'm excited for this match. Am I happy with the matchups? Yeah, I'm happy. I believe in the boys. Of course I'm happy. Seems that Trigger is opening up with 4 gateways. That's not something he does super often. Or is it just 3? Maybe it's just 3 actually. I think it's 4 though. No, it's 4. Here comes the first medevac drop. Ideally, we take care of this as quickly as possible. A little bit of retarget. Seems like we lost a stalker there. Send the probes back to mining, please. The 4 Hellions are going to now try to drive into the natural. Don't forget about that, Trigger, and he won't forget about it. The medevac was empty. That's kind of funny, actually. No, it wasn't empty. But it didn't go for it. Feeling an ace match today. 0-2, 1-1, 2-0. I believe in Trigger. Trigger has been able to get a couple of very big wins for us against Terran players in the past. This is now becoming a little bit problematic. There's one more mine left. That mine is going to get dropped. Is Trigger paying attention? Yes. Will the shot hurt? Oh, yes, it does. That is 5 probes going down. We've now lost a little bit more against this opening than we were supposed to. I do think that Trigger is going to be very aggressive on the other side of the map. He has not warped in a 3rd Nexus yet. 7 probes going down for 3 mines and a Hellion. Like, it's some... Oh, no. Okay. This is now a little bit problematic. 2 Hellions will still pack a punch. Trigger is obviously focused on what's happening on the other side of the map. He's going to blink. He has the Observer. He kills the 1st tank. He gets the 2nd tank as well. And we have lost 3 probes at home. I mean, getting 2 tanks that quickly, guys, is pretty promising. He's going to blink into the main. There is one more tank. The Stalkers are low in HP, though. We don't have a 3rd Nexus yet. ByuN is scouting. He's scouting a lot. As we have another forward blink, and that is tank number 3 that goes down. ByuN losing 3 tanks real quick against the Blinky boys. And now it's just SCVs and Marines. And this is where Stalkers can shine bright like a diamond. I think ByuN is in trouble, man. I think we can blink, we can get that bunker. And once we get the bunker, the floodgates are open. Or as Damu would say, the floodgates are on. One Marauder doesn't stand a chance. Our boy from Canada, I think he's doing it again like he's done it so many times for us when we need him the most. Took out ByuN last year. We lost 8 more probes, so that is a little bit scary. Uh-oh. That is a little bit scary. I don't know if we lost 8 more or if we lost 5 more after the initial 3. But it's okay. ByuN has no bunker. ByuN has a single tank. Show us the Stalkers, please, Mr. WTL Observer. Stim is 80% done. I think we can go for that tank. He will go for the tank. He gets that tank, and from here on out, don't lose the War Prism. Whatever you do, don't lose your War Prism. We're just going to pick up some Stalkers. We're going to blink to the low ground. I think there was a beauty arrow or 2 there, but I can live with it. Trigger's going to warp in a few more Stalkers. A Stim will be ready. The next time, we have to be careful now with the blinks, guys, because Stim is ready. 28 SCVs have gone down. That is obviously a crazy amount. Can Trigger transition? Yes. But, okay, he is going to go for charge. Loses the Observer there, by the way, but that's okay. We still have high ground vision with the War Prism. Trigger seems to think that he has done enough and he wants to transition and just expand on his lead. I don't hate that call. I think if we make a few more gateways, we are cooking. But maybe we don't even need to let it get there. If we just keep on microing the Stalk as well, if we keep on kiting these bio units, there's no bunker. The tank count is damn low. Is he gonna send it? Oh, he's gonna send it, baby. That tank falls. We should be able to get that Marauder as well. And ByuN has a low HP bio army left without any medevac support. The man from Basilisk, like he's done it in the past, he does it again. He shows up on a big moment for us. Takes the 1-0 lead. Let's go, Trigger. Ah, big win. Very big win. Earlier this season, when we played against Dragon Kaisi Gaming, Trigger took out Oliveira 2-0. Last season, he took out ByuN. This time, apparently, he at least took the 1-0 lead. Is there more to it? Heartlet, a map to bottom right side. Shopify, Rebellion's ByuN. Top left side, Basilisk Trigger. Both teams 7 win, 1 loss so far in the regular season. But they have 2 more points than us. And cannot repeat this often enough, but it's very important. You get 3 points for winning without an ace match. You get 2 points for winning with an ace match. You get 1 point for losing in the ace match. So in a perfect world, we win today without this going to an ace match, and then we'll all be very happy. As a fellow Canadian, I approve. As a fellow member of Basilisk, I approve. Let's go, Trigger. Big win. That's very nice. Trigger his PvTs, guys. In these moments, he often delivers. Should have taken a map of Maru as well last year. In that regular season match of onside against Basilisk. On Greswan, he totally had that game. It's gonna be a lot nicer for him as well to play that second game already knowing that you're 1-0 up. At this point, you can kind of see this as a bit of a free roll. Where you're like, okay, I think I've already done my job for my team. I am playing against perhaps the strongest player of Shopify Rebellion. At the bare minimum, I'm gonna get a draw for my team. Nothing to lose and everything to win here in the second one. ByuN once more went for an eBay block. This time around, Trigger said, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and take the third base. ByuN with a similar setup to what he did in that previous game. I think that Trigger overall handled the early aggression quite well. There was maybe one mine that did a little bit more than it was supposed to, but you know, obviously a medevac is not for free, widow mines are not for free, so they'll always find some damage. Trigger said in his stream that Clem PvT is the best now. You mean Clem's TVP or you mean Clem playing Protoss against Terran? Because I think Clem's Protoss is good, but Max Specs is better. But if you TVP, yeah. I mean, I think that I say that very often on my channel as well. I know some of you guys think that this old man is crazy and that he's full of it, but you know, guys, I do pay attention. I promise. And I know a thing or two about this video game. Trigger going Stargate here in the second game. Could be because of that eBay block. He may just feel that it's a bit easier to defend the main and the third base if you go for a Stargate opening. I assume that we're going to go at least one Oracle then. I'm personally not the biggest Oracle fan, but I think the Oracle is almost mandatory when you open up at the expense like this. Well, Trigger says, Roddy, if you want Phoenix, I'll give you Phoenix. And normally I always do. I really do. This is not my influence, by the way. I think if you are opening up against this super quick factory and this many aliens, Shield Battery Overcharge gets activated to save our Adept. We're gonna lift a higher HP Hellion. We have one more Adept keeping the natural safe. You guys think this is an armory opening, by the way? That's only 2 mines. Wait, what is ByuN doing? So far, so good. This could have been hard. This could have been problematic. But it's actually a pretty good start by Trigger. Widow mines into double Cyclone. And Cyclones are very powerful, but they're gonna hit quite late now. And at this point, I think Trigger is gonna have a lot of units. He's actually off to a really good start here in game 2. I don't want to believe that it's happening yet, guys, but I am definitely feeling this start, man. We have a 10 worker lead. As long as we don't do something silly, like fly our Phoenix into Widow mines or take a really bad fight against Cyclones, I think Trigger is kind of cooking. Trigger wanted that elo boost. I think he will already get it at the bare minimum for the 1-1 here. That should absolutely... Careful, please. Don't fly into the mines. It's just scout. Don't fly into the mines. Whatever you do, don't fly into the mines. Trigger. A little bit reckless there. That is just not something you can do on this level. You want to be a bit more on top of your unit control. It's okay to kind of right-click close towards the Terran base, but once you enter the main base, you always want to be proper cautious. MaxPax in the chat saying this is a good position for Trigger. I agree with you, MaxPax. I also said I liked it. I just didn't see him. I didn't like seeing him lose the Phoenix. I think there was a little period where Trigger was somewhat fond of Phoenix Colossus, but yeah, he's more of a Twilight boy. Royalty in the chat here today. That makes me happy. MaxPax loyal Ruddy sub. I mean, where do you guys think MaxPax is getting all these great builds from? No, he's a very smart kid, but you guys think he makes everything up himself? He watches that Ruddy stream. He takes some notes whenever he sees me play some ladder games. Trigger gives up in the depth, but gets a bit of scouting info. Got an observer on the other side of the map. Being a research interference matrix, right, on the side of ByuN. I believe that I saw the upgrade earlier. If the Phoenix... This is risky, though, because there's a Widow Mine above the refinery. That Widow Mine, I think, is going to fire. It will... Oh, my God, it's double mine, but somehow we didn't lose any Phoenix there, I believe. Which I would say is impressive and very fortunate. If I want to have some fun, I will play your style. Otherwise, no. No need to hurt me like that, MaxPax. I am your #1 fan. It's not all about fun, okay? Some of it is actually good, I promise. The 2 Widow Mines that fired earlier moved over. And at least that allowed Trigger to pick them off like that. The Raven is going to reveal the Observer. Not... Is he just going to poke with 1 Immortal, 1 Colossus? Phoenix is thinking of going for a dive on the Raven there, but... Colossus coming in from the left. We can lose that Colossus. Interference Matrix is going to go down. Just run the Colossus back. He recalls it. Can we save it? Okay, he somehow saves it. I don't know how I felt about all of that. That was a bit of a weird interaction. The Immortal is going to turn around and at least kill the Cyclone. I kind of like it because that Immortal was going to die regardless. So if you can at least get something in return, you may as well. I think that's better than randomly running it back and seeing it die eventually. Only MaxPax can say back when I was 6k, and he means it as a pleb level. Look, I used to play like you when I was 6k, aka when I didn't know what I was doing. That is a life goal for most of us, but it's all good. Marines are going to stim forward and gun down one of the Phoenixes. Trigger obviously needs to be careful because he did fly into the mines earlier, so a lot of his Phoenix are relatively weak. And another one gets picked up by Stim Marines. I honestly feel like we're bleeding out a few more units right now than we are supposed to. Don't forget that the recall is on cooldown. Trigger already recalled that Colossus and some of the Phoenix home. So now he cannot just bring these Phoenixes home quickly. And weathering the storm that is ByuN right now is going to be hard. Trigger is sitting at 1,000 minerals. Colossus could be in a bit of trouble. Is going to be in a lot of trouble. That is not the micro that we were looking for. I think ByuN is kind of picking Trigger apart here in game 2. I think we had a promising start, but the macro just wasn't quite there. Maybe that move out with the Colossus and the Immortal wasn't quite it. And obviously ByuN kicking things into overdrive here. Gunning down every single Colossus. It seems that after 2 games, we are going to be all tied up. Unless there is a magical comeback, but I don't think that's possible. If you play Phoenix Colossus and you start falling this far behind, I don't think that we can really go anywhere. It's a shame, because Trigger had a good start. It honestly looked like we could go somewhere in this game. ByuN is going to be forced to pick up a lot of these units since they are somewhat low on HP, but he's done a tremendous amount of damage. 22 probes went down, 2 Colossus fell. I think Trigger was getting a bit greedy there with the Phoenix, keeping them around in the main base so long. It's like, okay, you're killing a Marauder, you're killing a Marine, but you have no idea where he is on your side of the map. That obviously is a problem. But we will take the 1-1, guys. That is not a bad start for us at all. Heading into Reynor versus Lambo. That's going to be the next best of 2 on the stream. I think 1-1 is very reasonable. It's the start that Basilisk will take. I think Shopify is not super happy with it. Does not mean that we are there though, guys, because Lambo is obviously a very smart player. It is Coach Lambo against the man that he's been coaching for the 2 biggest wins of his careers. So they know a lot about each other, and ZVZ can obviously always be kind of crazy. So no guarantee for success, but I believe in Reynor. I always do. Double cloak with a mine in the back of the main. ByuN is maybe just waiting for the 2-2 upgrades, or he's not quite sure how he wants to end it. Wants to come in from the blind spot next to the natural of trigger one more time. Because they have teams LTU Hunter. But I don't think there will be Team Roddy WTL qualifiers next season. I think we are past that. We had our fun. The days with Goblin and Baby Marine and Cuckoo, it was super cool. Last time we obviously had some mercenaries. It was a bit of an experiment, and I think the journey was fun, but I don't know if I overall really loved the idea. But you have to try things to see if something can work. It becomes a bit weird as well, LTU Hunter, because I am obviously very invested in the success of Basilisk. So if I then start running a second team with really good players like Showtime and Hero Marine, that'd be very weird. That'd just be a complete conflict of interest, and obviously I don't want that. My focus is on Basilisk. My job is to see Basilisk perform as good as possible. Make everyone shine, and that deserves my energy, not a second team. I think that is very normal. But if somebody else wants to be in charge of running a team with Gabe and Showtime, I think that would be awesome for WTL, but that is not my job. My job is to see my boys shine. Couple of EMPs run. Shield battery overcharge has been activated. Nice feedbacks on the Ghost. I'm afraid the trigger is just a bit too far behind to really start believing. Doesn't really have any armor upgrades. He has done, honestly, surprisingly well over the last 2 or 3 minutes. Is the Basilisk relationship raw and new thing? Not totally new, but I would say that it's slightly more. I have slightly more responsibility now than I had in the beginning. In the beginning, it was just like, hey, Roddy, you want to be a streamer for us and you want to be our caster? And that's fine. And then slowly but steady, I started doing a bit more with the rest of the boys involved. But it's not totally new. Big EMPs landing on Stalkers and Archons. Colossus are going to die. Obviously, ByuN's army is way too big, way too powerful here for Trigger to be able to deal with it. GG got cold. These games were played yesterday. This was the replay best of 2. From here on out, everything else is live. ByuN and Trigger. Is Roddy the big bucks? I think those might go to the players, but I'm very happy, obviously. I have said it many times, I'm incredibly happy with everything that Basilisk does for me. And I am very glad that they seem to be happy with me. I had a 1-year deal. That deal would kind of come to an end right about now, but we already had talks about it. And they said, we love you, we're happy with you, you can stay on longer. From our part, you can do 2 years, but if you say like, no, that's too long, just 1 year, that's fine too. I said, are you kidding me? If you're giving me the opportunity to be here for another 2 years, we'll make it 2 years. That was not a hard decision. That was a snap call from my side. I was like, hell yeah, let's go. 2 more years. And hopefully many more. Thank you to Maxwell for the 22 months. Good for you, Roddy. Yeah, I was very happy with it. It was honestly, personally, for me, that was very good. And now, obviously, I'm going to do my best to make sure that they stay happy with me and they stay happy with StarCraft, and we can do great things for StarCraft. That's what it's all about, right? Everyone wants to do well themselves, but once you're kind of in that position, then you want to do well for others. Here we go, second best of 2. It is Reynor, the Game S8 champion, the Home Story Cup back-to-back champ versus the man who helped him during that big victory of Game S8. And that is Shopify Rebellion's Lambo. Hey, is that you, Thermal? Seems like there is a bit of a house party going on where the boys live. As a lot of you guys know, Reynor is roommates with Skillis, and apparently they invited you, Thermal, over. So Skillis and Uthermal chilling in the living room, watching the big man do his thing live. That's kind of cool. Hecate is going to be the opening battleground. In the bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of Shopify Rebellion's Lambo. Top right side, we are looking at the main base of the Italian Stallion, sponsored by Red Bull, and of course, Basilisk Reynor. Huge pressure on Reynor now. I don't think so. There is a prediction, Maxwell. Unless you're asking for my specific prediction. I think Reynor is going to do it. But it is ZVZ. These two know each other incredibly well. They've been friends for a very long time. Inside of the game, outside of the game. They've gone on holidays together. Lambo has coached Reynor to his victory at IEM Katowice 2 years ago. And he was also his coach last summer for the Game S8 tournament that Reynor also won. Those are the only 2 times that Reynor officially hired Lambo as a coach. And with that, it means that he paid Lambo to do a lot of research and obviously go over a couple of things. Lambo spent his time then on trying to find as much information as possible on all the opponents. And it seems to be a magical duo because they are 2 for 2. Reynor won IEM with Lambo on his side, and Reynor wins Game S8 with Lambo on his side. I'm gonna have to give you guys a badge, Basilisk. Please post that link one more time. I will VIP Basilisk Research Group. Try again. It will work now. Need permission to share links. We've had naughty people spamming naughty links in the chat. Is this live? Yes, mate. Everything on this channel is always live. And if you're wondering, Roddy, but what about that previous best of 2? You said it was a replay. It was a replay, but it was still the first time ever those games were shown to public. So, everything on this channel is always live. And if the games are not live, it is at least the very first time that the games are shown to the public. ZVZ can be a very tricky matchup. There are a lot of mind games. It's kind of similar to PvP in a way where obviously people keep on trying to cut corners. And because you keep on cutting corners, eventually go full circle, right? Where build A is good against B, B is good against C, C is good against D, D is good against E, and then the E build is actually very good against the A build again. And obviously Lambo will know that he is mechanically an underdog here. So he's going to try to win by using his big brain. Reynor sneaking 2 Zerglings into the main base. That's a big scout, guys. So you can see the extractors. You see one of them is being used. And more importantly, you see that very quick lair attack. Did Reynor immediately... Reynor had Zergling speed on the way. And he cancelled it, right? I got that correct? I was a bit distracted there by the chat because I had to... So whoever is in charge of the Basilisk Research Group, you guys tried to post a link. It didn't show up before because you didn't have the right permissions. You can post that link again because now the message didn't go through and I was distracted by it. But I believe that Reynor had a Zergling speed. On the way after his scout, he cancelled Zergling speed. He just wants to use all his gas into roaches, knowing that that is what Lambo is doing as well. That is obviously not Demo, it is Uthermal. Uthermal lives in the Netherlands as well. He is Dutch, and he lives relatively close. And I believe Uthermal and Skillers are pretty good friends. So I guess Skillers invited Uthermal over for an afternoon of watching Reynor play live StarCraft. Mm-hmm. What is Basilisk actually researching? At the moment, +1 missile attacks. And a roach speed. So there's a chance we'll research many more things. Hopefully that won't be it, guys. Don't want to be stuck on +1 forever. Lambo stopped at 33 drones. This is a bit of a Lambo classic. He's rallying a lot of roaches to the other side of the map. I think Reynor has picked up on this like a little while ago, but it's still going to be hard. This is the build that Lambo used a long time ago. I believe at DreamHack Masters Valencia to get a quick one over Serral. Lambo is droning up behind this, so he's not necessarily committed forever. Reynor should be able to get on top of those roaches. Obviously, the roaches of Lambo are quick. The drones are evacuating all the way to the bottom right side. How many of these drones can Reynor save? Unfortunately, as a Zerg, you cannot use recall. Lambo floating a little much, though. I was actually honestly very worried that Reynor was going to straight up lose. I'm glad that that did not happen. I think it's kind of okay for Reynor, to be honest. Lambo is supply blocked and making 5 overlords at once. It's a bit odd to me because what Lambo was doing was obviously of a relatively low drone count. He made a lot of roaches, even spread some creep in the center of the map, but then he went back into droning. And yes, he found some damage, but with the build that he went for, he obviously dealt a lot of damage to his own economy. And I think Reynor is okay. And obviously we trust Reynor's ability to play some late game ZVZ, so the higher the supply goes, the more vision there is for both players. The less it is about a cheeky, crazy build, and the more it comes down to who's got better macro, who's got better micro and multitasking, and finds the right time to transition. I think the more likely it is that Reynor will come out victorious. Maybe Lambo went for that build indeed, hoping that Reynor would be mega greedy. And if Reynor didn't cancel, let's say, Zergling speed, right? So he spends that gas on Zergling speed. Has a couple links, they don't do anything. Supply. Makes 7 more drones now, splitting up a couple units to go to the left side. Keep an eye on those. 3 roaches is the magical number of roaches you need to one-shot drones. I guess now that Reynor knows that the army of Lambo is on the right side of the map, he's going to send these 3 roaches in and he's going to one-shot a bunch of drones. This is not really the fight for Reynor, but hey, if he's just doing this to distract Lambo, keep an eye on the drones that could potentially go down, guys, because this is where Reynor normally shines. Reynor has a decent amount of Ravages. I want to say started off with the Superior Concave. I think Lambo had a few more units here, because Reynor was obviously splitting up units. Fight looking somewhat promising for Lambo, but with the immediate reinforcements, I want to believe that I think Reynor should be okay. It is getting damn close. Lambo still has quite a few more units here than Reynor does, and now we are reaching the point where Ravages go down, Queens go down, and Reynor is forced to pull the drones. He ain't happy. He has killed 5 drones on the other side of the map, and that is not fantastic. Lambo obviously is fully sending it. If Reynor can just survive, obviously he's fine because he still has more workers. But can we survive? Has lost Queens, has lost the Ravages, and with just roaches left, I am afraid that it is not good enough. Lambo struck when the iron was hot. He fully went for it. And I think that Reynor maybe kind of thought that it was going to be a more doable hold than what it turned out to be. So he bought a lot of time, or he waited a very long time until he started pulling drones. And in the end, it is a Lambo, guys, who is very, very decisive. Only 47 drones left for the German Zerg, but obviously that does not matter. Lambo gets a point on the board for the Rebellion. The coach beats the student. Yeah. Well, we need Reynor to become the 50% man. Hope Reynor is okay. Doesn't look very happy. I guess no one is ever happy if you lose a mirror matchup. Is Lambo better than people give him credit for? I think I give a lot of love to Lambo all the time. So maybe some, but I don't think you can include me in that list. I feel like if anything, I get accused of overrating Lambo very often. Let's hope that he can be our 50% man, because we desperately need him to be. Equilibrium. Lambo's laughing. I think that's when Lambo heard what map Reynor wants. I think that's what it is, guys. Or maybe Reynor sent him a message. Reynor turning around right now, talking to the boys. I know, young Ulster. Like, obviously, we'll use terms as someone is playing good or playing well on almost any level that we play StarCraft 2. But it obviously always comes down to what kind of competition are we watching. Like yesterday night, I was casting a bit of community StarCraft. The Passioncraft Open number 16. You know, of course, if we want to be very critical, we can always say that every game is bad and everything was sloppy, but that's stupid. Because if players have maxed out at 5,000 MMR, you gotta kind of cast it from that angle and knowing what is good for that level and what's not good for that level. When we watch these guys, that doesn't matter because we know that these are two of the best Zergs in the world. So then we can obviously be as critical as humanly possible. Because this is as competitive as StarCraft 2 gets. Equilibrium is going to be our second map. Lambo's still smiling. At least he's happy. I'm not happy with the fact that he took the 1-0 lead even though he's mein Bruder, but at least he's in good spirits. So. Top right side, guys, the Red Zerg, Basilisk Reynor. Top left side, the man who's representing the Shopify Rebellion, mein Bruder Julian. We're lieben Lambo. We just don't love his favorite football team. If they want me to do something, Helm, I will do it, yes. If they have questions, I will do it. I do not randomly contact them and be like, hey, Serral, I think you should be aware of this. Because then Serral might think, Roddy, you're a donkey, leave me alone. If I can do anything for the boys, I will do it. If they don't ask for it, obviously, I will respect their own time. It's Euthermo and Skillis. Skillis is the one who's living together with Reynor. And I guess they just invited Euthermo over to have some fun vibes on the Sunday afternoon. Mega base time. Lambo indeed takes the mega base as his natural. This has to be something that Reynor was thinking of when he picked this map. Equilibrium is a very unique map, not just in the fact that it's big and has a lot of bases, and that there are a lot of different ways to attack your opponent. It is the first ever map with a rich Vespian geyser and a gold at the same base. We've never seen this in competitive StarCraft 2. Reynor should know though what he chose, right? Obviously it's loser pick format in WTL, so Reynor lost the first map and he can decide whatever the hell he wants to play on in map 2. He picked Equilibrium, and I assume that he's got a plan to deal with mega bases if he didn't want to take it himself. Yes, some people indeed would call it a super duper, super mega, ultra, very rich, mega big base with a lot of, really a lot of resources. But only the magical individuals out there that truly have a way with words would describe the base like that. Native speakers from Nottingham. No one else can describe a base that fine. Lambo already morphing a couple of links into banelings on the right side of the map. Reynor now trying to take the mega base in response. I'm a bit concerned here, guys. Reynor has 8 more workers and he's going for another base. Well, Lambo is just gonna full send it. He's gonna be as aggressive as you can imagine. With a lot of links and a lot of banelings early on. Reynor, can we pull off a magical hold? We kind of need it. We have a queen on the ramp. Links around is there. Baneling's gonna finish up in time. No, one baneling gets cancelled. Queen is going to fall. Second Baneling gets cancelled as well. I do not like where this is going at the moment for Reynor. Oh. Can Reynor find a way out of this very dire scenario? Obviously, he did have 8 more drones, so he can lose a couple, but he has lost the Queen. He loses the second Queen. And it does not seem that this DVZ is going to come to a good ending, as Lambo came in with a plan and he said, if you want equilibrium, I'll give you an equilibrium special. All those drones are 1 hit away from dying. And Lambo's doing a really good job in trying to get that final hit off. Reynor still has 19 drones. It's 3 bases against 2. Biggest problem for Reynor is he lost the queens, guys. That is the biggest problem. He still has a drone lead, but not having any queens seems problematic. Then again, we have 1 more hatchery, so we have more larvae to work with. And we are missing stuff. The observer is not showing us what we need to see. Lambo does have an 8 army supply lead. Obviously, some of that is in queens. This game looked very dire for Reynor. But the longer it goes on, the more I can expect. Apparently, we're losing more drones. And the observer is just not showing us. I don't know where we lost those drones. I don't know if it was at the gold or in the natural, but Lambo making more links, more drones. Reynor trying to drone up. Reynor needs to respect the fact that this map is wild. He is also killing drones right now on the other side of the map. We need to micro our links to the best of our ability. Lambo has 12 army supply leads. Some of that is in queens. The stream is lagging a tiny bit. I apologize about this, guys. Awful moment for the stream to lag. There's nothing I can do about it. It's not my stream. It is their stream. The main base is wide open. I still think that Reynor is kind of dead, guys. It looked promising maybe for a split second. The drones are so clumped up. Those are the Baneling connections that the man from the Rebellion is looking for. And it is F's in the chat for everyone who loves Basilisk. And it's time to celebrate for everyone who loves the Rebellion. Because Lambo is on the verge of creating, I would say, a pretty big upset here. And putting his team in an amazing position. Reynor does still have these 3 bases, but he's now down 5 workers. We at least have a queen. Are we allowed to dream because we have a queen? Can we dream with 11 against 16 drones? Maybe. If it wasn't Reynor, I would say we can't dream. It'd be very nice if the observer could show us actually where all the units are. Is there an opening for Reynor here somewhere, guys, to get a little bit of damage done on the other side of the map? He's gonna run links into the main base, finds a drone that's being transferred. Has links now on top of a queen, gets the queen, maybe can get a drone. This is where Reynor's gonna try to flex the multitasking muscle. Okay. Reynor's losing more drones, guys. Links in the main base, and he's also killing a couple of drones. I just think that Lambo has a few more units. Honestly, it's kind of ghetto gaming over here. It's 14 drones against 10 drones. 13 army supply against 8. It is ridiculous. 6.5 minutes in, we are back into Wings of Liberty, where nobody knew that building workers was a very useful thing to do. These two are throwing everything they have at each other. It's just that Lambo has a little bit more, but when the numbers are this small, a little bit more feels like a lot more. A few more banelings come in from the left, from the right. Reynor is on 12 drones, so even losing 2 drones is a disaster. And he loses those 2 drones. More links, more banes is showing up. Feels that Reynor is officially running out of steam. I know we said that before. He tried to make something of it. Had very little left. If that baneling can finish up and get all the links, maybe we can still dream. Still trying to counterattack as well with the few Zerglings he has. The lowest supply game of professional StarCraft in a while after 7 minutes and 20 seconds. But it is Lambo who gets the fist pump going for himself. And I can't blame him for that. He should be over the moon. That's a big win for the man from the Rebellion. And that means that at the bare minimum, this will go to an ace match. And at that point, this is all we can hope for. Lambo 2, Reynor 0. GG. Last best of 2, Harstem versus Serral. Come on, Yona. We need you to do what you always do. 9% of the people believed in a 2-0 for Lambo. There, Julian shows up in a big way. Complete prediction. Serral versus Harstem. Best of 2. Give you guys 10 minutes for this. I'm gonna go ahead and take a very, very tiny break, guys, just to make sure there will be no ads running in the middle of this series. I'll be back in 2 minutes for our last best of 2. Harstem versus Serral. We need a 2-0. If it does go 2-0, we'll go to an ace match. That sucks, but it's okay. Equilibrium map 1. Harstem has pretty good PvZ. Obviously, Serral is Serral, and we always think Serral wins, but cannot underestimate the captain. He lives for moments like this. I know he's been looking forward to this. Okay, I think we're gonna have to rehost the game. Every now and then there are mods where you suddenly get a different interface. So instead of your regular interface, you get the Warcraft 3 interface or a Galactic Space interface. Some of them are nice, by the way. Some of those overlays are pretty. Harstem pretty scary right now. Yeah, no, I think the captain is good. I'm obviously hoping and wishing for a 2-0 here for Yona, but no guarantees. ZVP definitely got a little bit harder for the Zergs in this patch than it was in the previous one, especially the Baneling nerf. Definitely hurt the matchup a little. I still think it's obviously very doable. I would never say it was like, oh, I think Protoss is favored over Zerg right now, but Protoss has much more of a shot than they used to have. Yes, how to play. Take care of that, mate. We took care of that. Yeah, B-Ball City. There's actually a really good clip from that story where Harstem was casting at Home Story Cup together with Todd and someone else. And then Harstem shared a story where he said like, oh yeah, Serral is so high ranked on the ladder that whenever he beats me, he gets like 2 or 3 points. That's when you know you're a pleb. And everyone starts laughing. And then Todd was like, but how many points do you get if you win? And Harstem said, I don't know. And that was the funniest part of the clip. That was really good. Serral versus Harstem on the ladder. I can show you guys that clip quickly while we wait for these nerds to get it going. It's really fun. I think you guys will like this clip.
Harstem, do you play against Serral often on ladder?
Yeah.
How many points do you get if you win?
I don't know.
Best answer. Often on ladder?
Yeah.
How many points do you get if you win?
I don't know.
Best answer.
All right. Yeah, the star does add to it. I agree. Good times. Home Story Cup coming up, guys. Next weekend it is Home Story Cup time. A lot of us will be traveling over on Thursday. Seems that I really struggle getting this one going. Let's hope it's a good one and that it's worth the wait. We miss you this morning, Air. Where were you, mate? Ba-na-na-na-na-na-na. My monitor just went off for a split second there. Has done this, I wouldn't say frequently, but not a second time that this happened in less than a week. It's only for a second, so it's not the biggest of deals. And I don't believe it's supposed to be doing that. No. Ace match is good for onside. It's good for everyone who's on top of the league. It's good for Dragon KZ Gaming. Good for onside. It's even good for Team Liquid, who are still in the mix. 1.3 million versus 91k. Yona always brings out the big badass. Wonder what Harstem's plan is on Equilibrium. Once more, this is obviously the odd map. The first map in competitive history that has a rich Vesperian geyser and gold minerals at the same time. Zerg is often the first who can use it. Well, if Protoss can get their hands on it when it's the 4th base, maybe the 3rd, but it should be really hard as a Protoss to take that as your 3rd base. Technically not possible, I think, unless you do something weird. You hate to play a Zerg as good as Serral on Equilibrium. I'll be honest with you, Bully. I think a lot of people hate playing Serral on any map. I don't think there are many maps that you look at and you're like, yeah, this is where I want to play against Yona. No, I'm really feeling it. I don't think it's too map dependent. Here we go. It is time. Seems like we have the right overlay this time around. Nothing weird. Top right side. Once more. It is the captain of the Shopify Rebellion, Harstem. In the top left side, we're looking at the main base of the man who needs to get a 2-0 for us. Otherwise, this clan war is over. BASILISK Serral. Serral probably has the 2nd best record of anyone in the league. Maru is the best performing player this season of WTL Codas. Has won every single series, besides the one against Serral. That one went 1-1. Serral, I think, had 3 or 4 draws so far. Had a draw with Dark, had a draw with Firefly, had a draw with Maru. I feel like there was one more, but I keep on forgetting the last one. Dark, Firefly, and Wayne. Yeah, Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne got the best of Yona with the Nidus on Rod who said. That's correct. So Serral, I guess this is played a, what is it, 9, right? 5 wins, 4 draws. Yes, thank you, Wayne. Thank you. Sorry, mate. The Nidus on Rod who said. Serral, not too long ago, when this map was just released, said that taking the gold is bait. It's classic bait as a Zerg. You see the gold, you want to take it, and you take the gold into losing. Those were his words, not mine. Well, well, well. 2 months into the future, and what do we got? Serral taking the gold that is natural. Why is Scarlet not playing? You would have to ask one of the Rebellion folks for that. I'm obviously not in charge of their lineup. They decided that this is the lineup that needs to get the job done for them. And hey, that Lambo choice worked out well for them. The last time Harstem took a map of Serral was 2017. Took a map on the ladder though, with the double Stargate Phoenix. We have a Stargate as an opener here, but I obviously expect that Stargate to be for Oracles. He's rebelling. I don't think that's the case. Harstem, adept, is going to make it to the other side of the map. We'll see where he wants to go with it. Obviously, you want to be very careful with the adepts. The adepts are useful in not just finding damage with drones, but they also kind of help you to go up to 3 bases yourself as a Protoss. If you're going to send out the probe all by itself, it's an easy pick-off for someone like Yona as soon as Zergling speed is ready. Harstem will obviously know that every single unit counts. You're gonna see, I don't want to see it, but if Harstem takes a map here, you guys are gonna see an explosion of joy. He's probably gonna jump up and down. The single fist bump of Lambo will be nothing compared to the joy that Harstem will show here. Because this is the one that really matters for them. A single map is all that the Rebellion needs. Serral needs a 2-0. First Oracle is gonna fly on top of the drones. Harstem a little bit shaky with the control. He attacks 3 different drones, but he doesn't get the kill on a single one of them. So that's a perfect start for Serral. And Harstem is gonna be a little bit annoyed by that. He's gonna try to take the mega base very quickly himself. So opens up double Oracle and tries to take the gold with the rich Vesperian guys in 4 minutes into the game. Yona going for +1 melee. It's going to make his Lings a bit more feisty. Second Oracle flies into the gold, activates Pulsar Beam. Coming in from the high ground, it's kind of hard for the Queens to see it. Maybe Serral could put like an Overlord there. Actually, he has one. It's a little bit more towards the north. What are we going to do with that Twilight? It is going to be Blink. Harstem is quite fond of a Blink Stalker all-in that kind of looks for a while like, it's just a standard macro-oriented setup, but it's not. Because he doesn't get a Forge, he doesn't get a Robo, he just goes for it with nothing but Blink Stalkers and tries to get the job done early. I assume that Serral is familiar with this. Serral, in some of the interviews we always do with the players, has mentioned that he will do a bit of research. It doesn't matter who he plays. If he knows who he is playing 1 or 2 days in advance, he'll take a look at a couple of their games. Perhaps that is what also makes him Yona. Never cocky. Will still prepare even when he's the overwhelming favorite. So I'm sure that he's familiar with the build that I think Harstem is going to do here. Because I haven't seen a Robo and I haven't seen a Forge. What would be big for Harstem is if he somehow can get a pylon and a gateway up in the bottom left side of the map. Has done a good job with his oracles. Hasn't killed a lot, but obviously keeping them alive, I would say, is more important. Serral is putting all that money to good use, and he's going to morph 16 Banelings in the bottom side, and Harstem is completely unaware of it. And Harstem is actually going to go from Blink Stalkers immediately into a Fleet Beacon. The thing is just that Lings and Banes will kill probes a whole lot quicker than a bunch of Blink Stalkers do. It's a fun build what Harstem is doing here, but I do not think that he was ever expecting this amount of aggression coming out of Serral. And Serral says, if I got gold minerals, I'm going to make a couple of Banelings early, mate, and I'm not just going to sit here and let you attack me. I'll be the one who's dealing some damage. That is 12 probes. I don't know if we can get more. And imagine a couple of Banelings blowing up to the depth, by the way, and Lings running into the main base or the natural. That'd be big. To make every warp in faster. On the other side of the map, yes. If you have a pylon and a gate, and the left side, I mean, Serral has a lot of creep, so at this point, I wouldn't even know where you want to do that. But yeah, you can get fast warp-ins at that specific gateway. If it's just a pylon, obviously they would be slow warp-ins. If it's a pylon all by itself. I think whatever Harstem had in mind is now not really working out. He does have a carrier on the way, but I think Serral can obviously always just build a Spire. There is no cannon and a shield battery in the natural. Okay, there is a shield battery now. There wasn't earlier. Harstem being at 53 probes against 50 drones, that part is good, but I think it's inevitable that Serral will find some damage here. The Banelings are still slow, but this many Banelings, Harstem is going to need some very good Stalker positioning and a good battery overcharge, and so far he absolutely has that. He's losing some probes though, I'm not sure where. Maybe they were being transferred. First carrier is out. A single carrier is not that devastating, but if we get a second carrier, we get some air upgrades. That's where it could get scary. Serral in the midst of this Ling Bane pressure, where he didn't really commit, cranked out 19 workers and he's making a few more. So we went from 50 to 70 drones real quick. As he now drops a hive. I would kind of like to see a Spire. A single carrier is not that intimidating, but if 3 carriers show up, then a few queens may not be enough. You think it looks good for us? I'm completely fine with Serral's position. I just want to see him get some proper anti-air. It's kind of a cool wall off here at the bottom of this ramp by Harstem. Obviously, the Banelings are going to be a bit harder to deal with at this point because Baneling speed is ready. A sentry gets blown up. Banelings, I think, were trying to come in from the bottom as well, but that won't work because the wall of the shield battery gets protected. Really good blink there by Harstem. There's still a decent amount of Zerk here, but good job. Gotta give kudos to the captain for that one. That was excellent defense. Great defensive blink around the battery. Using battery overcharge. Very well done. Keeps the Nexus alive as well. We've got that Spire on the way. I wouldn't hate it if Harstem just sits back here for a little bit, guys. Looking at it from a Basilisk point of view. That was very good defense. Serral got very little done there. But as long as Harstem does not attack, and I don't see him really attacking here because he obviously doesn't know how far along that spire was, if there's something that can kill his carriers, this game will go on. And the longer it goes on, I think the more I believe that Yona will be fine here. I cannot check anything when it comes to units lost or whatever. I am not in the game, guys. The only thing that I can do is open a stream link that the guys from WTL give me and show that to you guys. That is all I can do here. Lings, Roaches, and Banelings looking for an opening in the natural, hoping maybe that Harstem made a mistake and that the Adept isn't there anymore. The Roaches are a little bit late. Getting the Cybercore would be big. Battery Overcharge gets used to save that Cybercore, and he does save it 8 seconds before +1 air weapons, but Serral turns around, grabs a couple of the Stalkers, so that's obviously not too bad. And we've got 11 Corruptors on the way. That base on the right side, I don't think it has any cannons or batteries. Nothing. So look at these Lings, guys. These are +2 melee Zerglings, and even without Adrenal Glands, those Lings, they don't give a damn. That is a dead Nexus and 8 probes going down as well. That's some value, baby. Bang for your buck. We'll take that. Harstem can be happy with that. Obviously because he took the gold rather quickly. And there's also a chance that that gold is going to mine out already in the near future. Serral even bringing a bunch of queens now. Maybe going for a Lingbane Queen Corruptor attack. Not an attack that I am ultra familiar with, but hey, in overwhelming numbers everything can work. And the upgrades are good. The Lings do have Adrenal Glands now at this point. Overlords are going to try to drop some creeps so the queens can transfuse one another. Storm is available. That's a big storm on the Corruptors. Bit of a weird attack, to be completely honest. I hope that Yona knows what he's doing, but Yona pretty much always knows what he's doing. He's bleeding out a few queens here, though. Lings may be looking for that cybernetic score. The Lings get the Cybercore. That's big, guys, because now A, these ports have been opened, and B, +2 air weapons got denied. And we all know how powerful carriers can be if they can get a big upgrade lead. Just a couple of Lings and Roaches are making life really hard for Harstem. And the Oracle's having a very hard time. Look at how effective that tiny attack of Serral was in the natural. That did more than the main attack. This stream looks to 480p. I know that the quality is not fantastic, guys, but I can't do anything about it. It's not my fault. I can only work with what they give me. And this is the best that I can show you guys. It is indeed somewhat low quality, but yeah, it's just... You're watching my stream, and I am watching a stream. If I was able to join the games, it would look a lot better, but they do not allow that. You got an HD Roddy and an HD Christmas tree in a fireplace. That should make up for something. Next time around, we'll have some Ultras in the mix as well. Harstem's ground army, I don't think is fantastic against Ultras. And we all know that once kindness plating is done, and the Ultras get a couple of armor upgrades, carriers, especially if their upgrades are not that intimidating. And because Harstem lost the Cybercore, he obviously has very late +2. The carriers will not do a lot against the Ultras. I think overall, 4 Dropper-Lords, by the way. What are we going to do with these Dropper-Lords? Are we just going to drop 32 Zerglings in the main? Or maybe 16 Lings and 2 Ultras? I'll take it. You can even escort that drop with Corruptor support. Serral's so rich, 4,000 minerals. Doesn't have that much gas in the bank, so he definitely needs to be careful. Cannot do something silly with the Corruptors, but I don't expect him to. Void Ray dies immediately. Void Ray is going to get targeted as well. Here come the Ultras. Carriers are going to try to do their thing against the Ultras, but it takes so long for this Protoss army to kill a couple of Ultras. And that will allow the Corruptors to get in range, gun down a carrier or two. And where is the rest of the army? Lings getting on top of a cannon. A few Zealots are going to have a very hard time. Like, Zealots can be okay against Lings if they have support. Whether it's Archons or batteries, cannons. If it's just Zealots fighting Lings with +3 melee and Adrenal Glands, the Zealots look so useless. Lynx just attacks so much quicker. Serral loves that Ultralisk model. It's the Boudoir Ultralisk. Don't know if he played that much Boudoir in his life, but I think he did a little. Harstem is putting up a fight, and there were moments in this game where it maybe looked a little bit promising. He handled that first big Ling Bane attack pretty well, because I was like, he's not ready for this. He was out of position. I thought it was going to be a disaster. It wasn't, but I think 15 minutes in, we're actually somewhat close to this game coming to an end. Serral is rich. His army is awesome. He's got all the map vision in the world. We're going to land a few abducts as well in oracles. I just don't really see how Harstem takes a great fight here, and I think he knows it. He's going to try to get some Immortals, more Archons, and a Mothership. +2 air weapons does finish up this time around. Shield battery overcharge gets dropped very early to save that Immortal, but Ultras with +3 also pack a punch, and even with battery overcharge, you're going to lose your Immortal. This gold is now in trouble. Harstem looking for a feedback on the Vipers, but he can't quite get his High Templars in range. His Rob Lords have not been used. The Nexus goes down. Here come the Corruptors and the Vipers. Another carrier falls. And I feel like we have seen this very often. One unit at a time will get abducted. And obviously if you're a Protoss with 140, 150 supply, and you have 100 minerals in the bank, these abducts hurt. And Serral will always be able to land them. This could very well be our game-deciding fight, or at least the final fight of the game. A couple of the storms were big. 1 or 2 Ultras went down. Serral just regrouping, looking for another full volley of his Corruptors. Gets another carrier, and all that's left in the skies is a Void Ray, a carrier, and a Mothership. The Void Ray and the carrier have gone down. And the rest of this Protoss army doesn't look that great. Maybe Serral needs a few more ground units to clean this up. But once he gets to clean up on his army, he's fine. Maybe that Greatest Fire could have probably been a little bit quicker. Because then we could have just morphed our Corruptors into Broodlords. At this point we can't. What we can use the Corruptors for is obviously land an abduct on the Mothership and then kill it. We land it with the Viper, we kill it with the Corruptors. This is where Harstem is going to send it. His Hail Mary play of this game. Archons, Immortals, couple Stalkers, couple Storms. Can it be good enough against this many Ultras? The fight on the ground is somewhat close, but Serral should have reinforcements for days. You know, Harstem honestly doing pretty damn good here. Killing all the Queens, killing the Ultras. That is a job well done by the captain. The problem is just that Serral is very rich. So Serral can rebuild. Serral is now going to make some magic happen with his Corruptors as well. The Greatest Spire is done, so he can morph Corruptors into a Greatest Spire. I think we're going to see the Corruptors use Caustic Spray. Great fight on the ground there by Harstem. He handled that as well as he possibly could have. But he's now going to lose at least 2 bases. The recall is not going to save it. This Nexus should go down. There is no battery to save it. The other Nexus goes down as well. So Harstem is now a 2-base Protoss, which means he basically has no more income. And now the army on the other side of the map is going to get cleaned up by all the reinforcements. GG gets called. Serral gets the job done. Takes the 1-0 lead. The captain played well though. Kudos to Harstem. And I just feel that Harstem played a good game there. Made Jonah work for it. But that's where Jonah shines the most. He loves working for it. Ultras so bad. I do not think that the Ultras are bad, mate. As far as I know, the guy with Ultras won. Wannabe Doe said, I love Harstem. His game knowledge is out of this world, but somehow he doesn't dominate the pro scene. Maybe his hands can keep up with his brain. There's also a chance, mate, that the other pro gamers are also very smart. Harstem is smart, but so are the other guys. And I don't think that Harstem is like 80 IQ above every other pro gamer. Sure, some players are very quick and maybe a bit quicker than Harstem, but Harstem is very smart and has a lot of game knowledge. But I may hope that you don't look at Serral or anyone else and be like, yeah, they're not that smart. They're just very quick. It's like, no, they're pretty smart too, mate. At the highest level, all of these guys are incredibly knowledgeable about the game. Hello, ByuN. Was going carrier the wrong call here? Well, you can also say that the carriers kept him alive, right? For quite some time. I don't know. Harstem had a build in mind. The thing is, we could never truly see what Harstem's... And maybe Harstem's perfect plan is like, hey, I'm making it look like I'm going for a Blink Stalker all-in. I want you to build nothing but roaches, lynx, ravages, maybe some banelings, I don't care. And then he would reveal the ace up his... or the trump card. And that is like, suddenly carriers. And then maybe the carriers could have shined. Or he could have pushed Serral down a lurker path. And then the carriers could have been awesome. But obviously the game played out in a different way than Harstem expected. Because Harstem moved out with the Blink Stalkers. And while he was making that move out, Serral was already all over his gold. So at that point, that is not something you prepare for. Because if he was preparing for that, he would have been at home. I don't know. I think I like Harstem's plan. I like Harstem's strategy. It's just that no matter how good the plan may be, you're still going up against Serral. You're playing a PvZ against Serral. And it's very hard to bring it home. Rat Huset is a bad pick. Well, I mean, it's Harstem's pick. Harstem can choose whatever the hell he wants. I don't think that we could ever say that something is a bad choice. Because if he picks it, he must feel really good about on this map. And even if you think another map is better for Protoss, it does not make any sense for Harstem to play on a map that he doesn't feel comfortable at, but other people say is good. You're always going to go with what you feel best at. It doesn't really matter how other people look at it. You go with where you think you can shine. And if Harstem thinks that his best chance is winning on the Ratu set, that is the best choice. We're not really in charge of what other people can feel good at. If Serral wins, we'll get another game. That is correct. The current score is 3-2 in favor of the Rebellion. If Serral wins this game, we're going to an ace match. Ratu set, I think, is by a Swedish creator. It is named after a metro station in Stockholm. I have probably been there, but I forgot. Or at least I must have passed it. Roddy's the ace. I mean, I don't know if Dr. Dario has the confidence to play Roddy in a best of one, but, you know, if TLO wants to settle it with the big man, they will take that, because they know. No. It is too early in the season for that, guys. I know last season we had a bit of fun with Crank versus Roddy in Onsite versus Basilisk, but that is because it did not matter who won that final match. Like, we were always going to be second, and they were always going to be first. Right now, we're not in the middle of the season, but there is still a lot to play for. So obviously, ace matches will be that serious.
Round 2, fight!
Bottom left side of Red, who set a station. We were looking at the main base of the captain for the Shopify Rebellion. It is Harstem. Top right side, we are looking at the main base of the man who's forced to play on this map a whole lot, because it seems that almost everyone picks this map against him. Basilisk Serral. Netherlands versus Finland. Roddy undefeated in ace matches. You know it, and we're gonna keep it like that, baby. Harstem picking Ratu set. I feel like something that is somewhat obvious is what I predicted a while ago when Gerald picked this map against Serral. And I was like, I have the feeling he's going to open up with a Stargate. He's going to make it look normal, but then he's going to go double Stargate Phoenix. And Gerald is not even much of a Phoenix guy. But I just kind of felt that that was going to be the game plan. It was, and he made a game out of it, but in the end, Serral won. I think it'd be a little bit obvious if that is what Harstem is going to do here. Serral wasn't born last night. He will know that on this map, builds that are not very good on many of the other maps can work on this one because of the in-base expand that is very well protected. And we're not talking about the natural, but we're talking about the third base, obviously. So, I feel like Harstem needs to bust something else out. What is that going to be? Ich habe wirklich keine Ahnung, as the Germans would say. Is Serral also undefeated in ace matches? Yes, I mean, Serral basically is undefeated in the regular season, period. He's had draws, but Serral has never lost in the regular season. He has only ever lost in the playoffs. 5 Robo Immortal. Whatever it will be, I'm sure it's going to be fun for us. zeer veel aanhang. But not about this game. Not about this specific plan of the captain on this map. I mean, there is also a chance that he's gonna play it out somewhat normal. But it's just like, Yona might be worried about X, Y, Z, this map being weird, this map being a bit different, and then, as they said a long time ago, whether it was day 9 or Atosis or Chaseless, whatever, whoever said it, probably not tasteless. The cheesiest thing that a cheesy player can do is play a macro game. Now, obviously, Harstem is not a cheesy player. I'd say he's a macro-oriented player to a fault almost, where sometimes being a bit more dirty wouldn't hurt him. But if you expect him to cheese, then maybe by playing macro-oriented, you can actually throw your opponent a proper curveball. The Goblin build. What is the Goblin build? I still love you. I still love that you are in the SC2 scene. I'm glad about that, mate. Void Ray into Fleet Beacon, guys. Void Ray into Fleet Beacon. Are we gonna get... Is it a Tempest opening, maybe? Is there a world? You said 2 Stargate Phoenix. Well, that's what I was already talking about earlier. I actually think he will open up with 1 Tempest. Like 1 Tempest to harass the natural of Serral. And after that, we might do something weird. I don't know. Let's see. Or it's just the 4 carrier opening, right? That's a possibility as well. Harstem scouting for Overlords. He definitely does not want to reveal this build. He only has 1 Stargate at the moment, yeah. But what could we do then? Like 1 Tempest into a Zeldolin or something? Yeah, that's what I was thinking of as well. Oh my god, Ruffle. Yeah, I mean, I said the Tempest. Making an extra gate. Seems like the YouTube stream is getting worse and worse, so just bear with me, guys. I am counting pixels. I believe we are currently looking at 29 pixels on our screen. Where are we going with this? I mean, it could also just be Tempest to harass and then a bit of a macro game. A Tempest one-shots drones, yes. But obviously, there is a bit of space between the mineral line. So if Serral just moves the Spore Crawler to the edge, puts the Queens right on the edge... Like, it's honestly not that easy to kill a crazy amount of drones with this Tempest. That is probably true, Ian Blue. Like, I don't know if that was sarcastic, but yeah, there is a good chance there are more pixels in this tiny square than in the rest of our picture, but... He is making a second Tempest. We have a Twilight Council, a Forge, and another Gateway going down. Serral already moving the spores forward. Like, Harstem will obviously always get a couple drones here. Oh, Captain! No! Harstem, matey! I don't think he will lose it, but jeez Louise. That was not it. I mean, he doesn't lose it, but... Now, obviously, you need to be a whole lot more cautious with your Tempest from here on out. And it's a lot harder to get those couple drones that I was talking about. Yeah, that was obviously not supposed to happen. Second Tempest is here. He does not have the Tempest upgrade. 2 Tempests, I guess. No, we need to overkill there. You don't want to shoot at the same drone, no? I mean, so far he got a Spore Crawler and 2 drones. That's not fantastic, guys. Spire is done. The Spire is done and Serral is 24 workers ahead. Actually making Muras. Tempest now at 3. I mean, Blink Stalkers against Muras, that can obviously still go somewhere, but economically, this game just looks like a nightmare for Harstem. We do have the Le Explosion, the gate all in. Serral does need something that's going to be a bit good on the ground. Harstem is even going to try to get a Nexus on the other side of the map. The idea here is obviously, guys, maybe down the line you can get battery overcharge, but I think the biggest thing here is a pylon. What Harstem really wants there is just quick warp-ins. And he has no time right now to wait for a robotics facility. He has no time to wait for a gate. And the Nexus doesn't need to be done for you to get quick warp-ins. So it's actually pretty smart. I really like this. What's happening with our stream? Damn it, why now? Muras flying to the other side of the map. I honestly kind of like it. Harstem needs more pylons though. That 1 pylon finished up. But yeah. It's very important to keep in mind. Serral says, I will help you with your supply block, sir. Kills 12 probes real quick. Oh, the captain already didn't have that many probes. These mutas are packing a punch. I mean, Serral did not even have Zergling speed, so Blink Stalkers are definitely scary. These mutas need to buy time, and they are buying time. Oh man, they're not just buying time. They're completely destroying the economy of Harstem. Harstem having a hard time being aggressive with Stalkers on the other side of the map. I know that defense looked clumsy, guys, but in Harstem's defense, he's clearly microing on the other side of the map. But the observer was only looking at the Mutalisk killing everything, and then it looks like Harstem is AFK, but I can promise you that he was not AFK. It's just that Serral got the best of him on his side of the map and on Serral's side of the map. GG got called. Serral gets the 2-0. And we'll send it to an ace match. And this is where I'm going to take another break, guys. Because I need to discuss very quickly with my team. Be right back. The captain needs to do captain things. Ace match is Lambo versus Serral, guys. Lambo versus Serral. I'll give you guys a prediction. 5 minutes is what you guys get. Serral 2-0 complete prediction. Serral versus a Lambo, best of 1. Ace match. You guys have 5 minutes. Put your imaginary internet channel points on the line. We'll obviously do a little interview with the boys afterwards as well. For the people who don't always watch my broadcast of WTL, whenever a match is over, win, lose, or draw, it's not possible to draw, but we'll just say it hypothetically. We always do an interview with the boys. We'll take a little break after the ace match, couple minutes, set it up, and then we'll have a little 5 to 10 minute chat with the 3 players. See how they're feeling after their games, talk about the games a little bit, and obviously maybe get a bit of a forecast for the Home Story Cup weekend. We have a... We had a little discussion over playing some different games with each other. And I don't know what it was, but... Wait, where do I find it? Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong channel. So basically, Reynor suggested us to play a couple games. Trigger responded, and Serral responded this morning at 8:49 a.m. He said, sorry, I wasn't home for the entirety of Saturday. And then I said, just Jonah casually dominating the dance floors of Helsinki on a Saturday night. Well deserved, champ. I hope we're fresh for the Rebellion today, though. And Serral responded, yep, I'm already getting ready for the Krefeld dance floor. So he's looking forward to it, guys. He got some practice in yesterday night. Just Jonah tearing up Helsinki. Everyone has different preparations for a Home Story Cup weekend. I know he was at the finish line. I don't actually think that Jonah went to the club in Helsinki, but he rolled with it and it made me happy. Home Story Cup 24 is happening upcoming weekend. Most people will arrive in Krefeld on Thursday. Friday the games will start around 1 p.m. The casters will be Wardy, Loco, and myself. Playlist has not totally been announced, but I can let you guys know that the Basilisk folks will be there. Trigger, Serral, and Reynor will all make an appearance at Home Story Cup 24. They have not revealed everybody else yet. I think we've got some very cool players participating in this Home Story Cup. It's a bit of a shame that it is being held in such a busy month of StarCraft. I mean, who could have ever thought that we would complain about there being too many things to look forward to in the year 2023? But December is a very busy month. The nerds are here. Ace match will be played on Golden Aura. Lambo is going to try to make this a very memorable day for himself. He's got to be feeling real good after that 2-0 earlier over Reynor. Now he goes up against a man that has often stopped him in the past. We had a big online tournament in the Corona era, and I always forget the name of it because a lot of these big online tournaments blend together, but Lambo had the best run he ever had in that one. Made it to the grand finals. And in that grand finals, he played against... Yes, it was next tournament. Thank you, Ian Blue. Made it to the grand finals of that tourney. In the grand finals, he played against Serral. And he put up one hell of a fight. I think it went to game 7. In the end, it was the great Jonas Sotala who won that one. Time for our ace match, guys.
Final round. Fight!
Bottom right side of Golden Aura. I once more apologize about the poor quality of the stream today. There is nothing I can do about it. It is not in my hands. There are 2 streams I can use, Twitch or YouTube. Twitch is often a little bit sharper, but the problem with Twitch is that it buffers a lot, and that's even more annoying to watch than the low quality YouTube stream. So we're just working with the tools that they give us. But I'll do my best to tell you guys what is happening. Lambo for the Rebellion in the bottom right side. Serral for Basilisk in the top left. Both teams already got 1 point for this going to an ace match. The winner of the ace match will get an extra point. Before this clan war started, the Rebellion had 2 more points than us, so they will always still be ahead of us in the standings. But next weekend they play against Onsite. I don't even know what kind of an outcome I hope for there, because we'd like to finish above both of them. So maybe that going to an ace match is best for us. If we win next weekend without an ace match and they go to an ace match, we can win 3 points. We'll see. The quality is definitely a bit worse today than it was many other days, which is a bit frustrating because this was a clan war I was really looking forward to. And I think it has delivered so far, right? We've seen some cool StarCraft. We've seen a couple of awesome builds, great fights. It's a shame that we cannot enjoy it in HD. It's okay. We're just happy it's here. Serral will be at Homesteader Cup. The entire Basilisk squad will be there. I will be the captain. I will be buying some drinks for everyone. I'll be bringing waters as well if the players need it. Trigger, Reynor, and Serral will all play in the tournament. Sometimes I can indeed increase the quality, but if I do that, it might get laggy. But we can give it a shot. I just hope it works. I have increased it now, but whenever it obviously automatically decreases. For now, it looks good. Lambo Serral, ace match. Let's hope it can stay this sharp. Both players opening up with Zergling speed. I would say that's not necessarily a given in this day and age. I did it already twice earlier. Oh my god, Ruffle. I upgraded it twice, but then it just got decreased again. I have tried, trust me. That is exactly what I'm doing, Midigun. But it's just if their stream is unstable, it will automatically decrease in quality to make sure it keeps on running. But yeah, right now it looks good. Fingers crossed it stays like this. Lambo fires up a lair 3 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. Serral was the one dropping a Roach Warren first. Fired up that lair right after the Zerglings got taken out. And Serral drink. Of course, he's an adult. Not a big drinker, but every now and then to celebrate, he'll have one. Or sometimes even if he gets eliminated early, which doesn't happen very often, but if you attend Homesteader Cup this weekend, there is a good chance that you'll see your favorite pro gamers have a beer. It is okay. They're all of legal drinking age. They're allowed. It's okay for them if they want to. That they too have a bit of fun with the rest of the community. I can lower the music a little bit. Serral fires up 9 roaches. Lambo, his roach warren is done. Has 3 overlords finishing up. That's 12 roaches now for Serral, guys. Still no lair on Serral's side. Safe to say that Serral is going to be aggressive. Lambo is wondering, should I build drones or should I build... He's making some banelings now. Why is he making banelings? Lambo is playing a very greedy game here. He drops the Spire. But this is the first time he's going to see all these roaches of Serral make their way to the other side of the map. Honestly, this is going to be, I think, incredibly difficult for Lambo. And clearly Lambo is a man on fire today, so we're not going to count him out just yet. But a single Spine and a couple of Links and a couple of Banelings, I don't know if that's going to be good enough. Big moment here in the ace match of the Rebellion versus Basilisk. Can Serral do what he has done so often for us in the past, and that is bring it home in the ace match? We have roaches and we have banelings. Taking out the hatchery is obviously a great start. I wonder if we need more than just the hatch. I think Serral at this point is also maybe thinking perhaps I need more than just that hatchery. I want to make sure that I can deal some critical damage to Lambo. It's going to take out the baneling nest. What are we going to go for afterwards? Lair is on the way on the other side of the map. Lynx will finish off that hatchery. Roaches will now start battling queens. Lambo has his own defensive roaches out. I really think that Serral could have done a bit more, but he's obviously not done yet. He's going to go for the roach warren, so he takes out the baneling nest. He takes out the roach warren too. Single spine and a couple of roaches. Ooh, Lambo had a lot of units on the left side. These roaches, I think, were kind of early. Maybe with the spine support, Lambo can be fine here. Does still have a couple of banelings left. The queens are dropping transfuse on that spine crawler. Spine crawler does go down in the end. There are 7 mutas on the production tab. I actually think that Lambo should be able to at least stabilize here. If all he loses is 6-7 drones, it's perhaps still playable with that spire already online. 6 drones is what it is so far. The drones are all stacked up on the extractor, so he's not really mining as many minerals yet as he would like to. From here on out, though, it is obviously very easy for Serral to just make a bunch of Zerglings and run these Zerglings to the other side of the map. Lambo shaking his head. He is not happy with the amount of damage he took there. I'm a bit surprised that Serral is now making more roaches. Maybe he's worried about a big swell of Lynx, and then it's Lynx and mutas at the same time. A base up and 19 workers ahead. Obviously, that's a great spot to be in. But with the mutas out right now, it's still, I think, a tiny bit. Sorry, guys. I've been a bit sick for quite some time, actually, but we're getting better. Like, I think Lambo can maybe still make something of the game because he does have a lot of map control now. He's got the mutas out. He can take out a couple of the overlords. It is hard for Serral to just end it unless we elevate or transfer a couple of queens to the other side of the map. Serral is getting overlord speed, but that could just be to A, save the OVs, and B, to scout a little bit. Still making a lot of roaches, though, at this point. And that gives me the idea that one queen does get picked off. I think the game is looking really, really good for us. Looking really good for Yona, but against Minos, you never truly know how it plays out. Serral now queues up a bunch of drones. And drops the infestation pit. I'm a tiny bit confused by all the roaches that Serral made. Now Serral makes a double infestation pit. Okay. Well, we will see. Lambo's still on 39 drones. I have the feeling that Lambo's just going to go ahead and try to get some damage done here. Gets another queen. There's one more low HP queen. Is making a dive for that spore crawler. The spore crawler too. I'm starting to get a tiny bit worried, man. That these mutas are growing out of control. It's going to be very difficult, I think, for Serral to keep all of his queens alive here. But we have queens. We have a spore. That spore lived for quite some time. It did get a lot of shots up. Serral should have more on the ground, but we have a severe lack of anti-air. Uh-oh. I mean, this is just going to get very chaotic. The final 2 queens will go down. Lambo's supply is low, though, and I think the roaches of Serral should be able to do a lot more damage, and just a couple of mutas will. That definitely got a bit hectic, but it does not matter. In the end, it is good enough. All the roaches on the ground would be too much for Lambo to deal with. GG gets called, and it is Serral who gets the job done here in the ace match. And he'll bring home the W for Basilisk. We were down 3-1. We have turned things around. It means that we improve our record of the regular season to 8 wins and 1 loss. The only downside of today is obviously that we won without an ace match. And since Shopify started the day with 2 points ahead of us, they will actually still have 1 more point. We get 2 points for winning with the ace. Shopify gets 1 point for making it to the ace match. So they now have 21 points. We've got 20. These guys don't often show you guys the standings of the league overall. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for you guys. These were the standings at the beginning of the day. Shopify 7-1, Basilisk 7-1. They get 1 point, so they go to 21. We get 2 points, we go to 20. That means that we're all tied up with Dragon Kaisi Gaming, but they have a much better map score. Blech. So we win, but we stay in 4th place. We win, but we stay in 4th place. We're at 20 points. DKZ 20 points. Shopify 21. And Onsite is kind of off to the sunset with 25. It's going to be very hard for anyone to catch them. The reigning champs, obviously, of WTL Kodas. Next play day, you've got a big match, obviously, between Onsite and Shopify Rebellion. Meanwhile, we are playing SSLT. SSLT is at the bottom of the league, so we should be able to win that and get all 3 points. Obviously, I know the cliche. You can't underestimate anyone, but I don't think anybody would accuse me of arrogance when I say Reynor, Trigger, and Serral can defeat Silky, Tutming, and Cyan. I feel like that should be that should well be within the realm of possibilities. Hopefully I don't come across like an arrogant douchebag over here, guys, but you know. That will be it for WTL Kodas today. What is going to happen now is that I will take a tiny break. A couple minutes, we'll run some ads. After that, I'll be back and do a little interview with the boys. I'll set that prediction, throw it to a break, and then we'll do a little interview. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm happy with the win. A little bit sad that it happened in the ace match, but hey. Thank God for the great Jonas Sotala. Serral does it again. He brings us the dub. And we shake hands, virtual hands with the Rebellion. Obviously a team that we are close with, that we love, that we appreciate. They do great things for StarCraft. So we're very happy with them. Take a couple minutes, and after that I'll be back with an interview. And that will be the end of my day. See you guys soon. Thank you all for tuning in. If this is where you guys leave me, I hope you guys had fun. Thank you. Be right back. See you in maybe 3 to 5 minutes for little chitty chat with the boys.